Hello, my name is Carrie Locke. I am your instructor for CS115, Introduction to Computers, and this is Chapter 1, Digital Literacy, Introducing a World of Technology. I'm going to set a timer because we have a lot in this chapter, and I may break this chapter up into two different sections. So here's an overview of what I'm going to cover today in this presentation. So I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then listed here are just the different sections of Chapter 1. And then following that, we have the chapter summary, and then we have the different assignments and projects that are due for this section. So let's get started. So housekeeping. So last week, well, let's start with this. For me, I'm going to have your content up at the beginning of each week. If we're going to have a test, that test will be on Friday. And then if we have any assignments or projects, those will be due at the end of the week, Friday or Saturday, depending on the project and depending on whether or not we have a test that week. So any changes that will happen from the time that something is posted, say I post a project and I notice that there's something in the project that wasn't clear, or there was an error in the project, any changes will be posted on Web Campus, so that'll be done through an announcement on Web Campus. So let's look at week 1's assignments. Week 1, you were requested to create a Discord account. Let me exit out of this and let's look at Discord. So here's Discord. Here's an account on Discord. Here's just a regular user account. And now we'll look at, this is what the class page looks like. This is what the class page looks like if I have not added you in as a, if I haven't added you into the class yet. So when you first enter the class, this is what it should look like. Now Discord, when you first go to Discord, you just request an account. It's a free account. You sign up, you enter an email account, you create a username, and then you were requested to send me that username. Now I have almost every single person in the class, failing a couple different people that haven't submitted to me yet, and I'll check with those individuals. But most everybody has succeeded on this without any issues. So if you had an issue, a specific issue with this, maybe something happened and you couldn't fix your account, let me know, and we'll check into it. I'll work with you on that. But this Discord is much better because I can share my screen with you during office hours. So if there's a project due, we can step through it. If you're having specific issues, we can work with it. There's voice, there's video. I think it's just a better option. So the second order of business is the Web Campus discussion. So the Web Campus discussion, looks like everybody did a great job. There is something that I would like to point out as far as the Web Campus discussion. So computer science is one of those areas where you need to be really specific. You have to be detail-oriented with computer science. So if you get a set of instructions for something to do, for something to carry out, say you're writing code for a fighter jet, if you miss the instructions, it could crash, it could bomb something someplace that it's not supposed to bomb. When it comes to computer science, instructions are very, very important. For me, I'm not necessarily a detail-oriented person, so this is something that was difficult for me to learn in computer science. Now, the Web Campus discussion assignment that I gave you was very specific. It asked for 4 posts. It asked for your, I don't even remember, it asked for your major. It asked for you to reply to 2 people, and it asked for another piece of information. But it specifically stated that you needed to have 4 posts. Now, a lot of people only posted 3 posts because they merged those first 2, which were your major and your favorite social media. So that was not, you could put it in 1 post, that was fine, but you needed to have 4 posts. Now, how you wanted to do 4 posts was entirely up to you, but the requirement specifically stated that you had to have 4 posts. So one of the things that I'm going to be watching for is if I give you specific instructions, that you follow those specific instructions. So the assignment coming up this week is to create a text document. If in the instructions it states that the file name has to be your last name followed by the last 4 of your NG ID, then that has to be the file name. It can't be your first name, last name, and then the last 4. You're going to lose points that way. So when it comes to the instructions, that is one area that I'm going to be kind of picky. And that's because, as I said, when it comes to computer science, that's one of the areas of computer science where you have to be careful. And that's why. So moving on, if you have questions about that, ask me. If you have questions about an assignment, and the counter side to that is that if I am unclear in the instructions, if I find that I was unclear in the instructions, then I will give the points back. But as far as week 1's assignment, I was specifically clear. So no, I will not give the point back. And that wasn't worth very much, so don't worry about that one. So for week 2. So for week 2, I'm posting several YouTube videos about the history of computing. So there are 3 from PBS. They were a cooperative effort with PBS. And they're really neat videos, and they really go into the history of computing, and they give you a good comprehensive understanding of where we've come, where we started, and how far we've come with the invention of computers. And then the third one is a comprehensive history of computing. There's a lot of information in there. You're going to hear the same names in both videos, so kind of key into that. If you hear the same names over and over, that's kind of an important thing to listen to. Don't worry too much about all of the details in the last one that I'm posting, because it is very comprehensive. I'll also post a review sheet that gives you a history so that it's a little bit more laid out for you. So I'm including the history of computing in this week in addition to chapter 1, because it is essential that you understand where we started and how far we've come. So chapter 1. Chapter 1 is a lot of terminology, and it's basically a review of what we're going to be covering. So chapter 1 is just making sure that we're all on the same page as far as terminology and understanding some basics about the definitions and what we will be talking about as far as computers. So let's jump in. Section 1 of Chapter 1, A World of Technology. So a world of technology is basically telling you that computers are everywhere. They permeate our lives in every aspect of our lives. They're necessary. It's necessary that you learn computers for all employment. And the computer technology is everywhere. I mean, it's in our phones, our TVs, they're in our appliances, our cars. We're going to have self-driving cars soon on the consumer market. They're in our alarm systems. Basically, they're everywhere. And digital literacy, the definition is simply having a current knowledge and understanding of computers, mobile devices, the internet, and related technologies. A computer. A computer is an electronic device under a set of instructions. An electronic device operating under a set of instructions stored in its memory that can accept data, which is input, process the data based upon a specific set of rules, produce information, which is output, and store the information. So instructions are the steps that tell the computer how to perform a particular task. Excuse me. Software, or a program or app, is a collection of related instructions organized for a common purpose. A personal computer is a computer that is intended for one person at a time. They also communicate with other personal computers and devices. Examples of these include laptops, tablets, and desktops. So a desktop is basically a stationary personal computer. The monitor, keyboard, and mouse are separate. The tower contains all the processing components. An exception to this is an all-in-one, which contains the monitor and processing components. The monitor contains the processing components. A laptop or a notebook is a thin, lightweight mobile computer where the screen is in its lid and the keyboard is in its base. It operates on batteries, a power supply, or both. While laptops generally weigh up to 10 pounds, there's new ultra-thin laptops which weigh up to 3 pounds. A tablet is a lighter weight mobile computer that has a touchscreen. It's somewhere between a phone and a laptop, and it has no physical keyboard. It's generally less powerful than a laptop or desktop, and it operates on batteries, a power supply, or both. So a server is a computer dedicated to providing one or more services to other computers or devices on the network. It can store content, control access to other hardware or software or other resources. So it can support 2 to thousands of computers, devices, or users all at the same time. It can range in size from small, which can be a high-end desktop, or large, up to room size. So servers can be used by large corporate, government, and internet applications, and they can use powerful, expensive servers to support their daily operations. A network is a collection of computers and devices connected together. An end user, or a user, is anyone who interacts, successfully there we go. A user is anyone who interacts with a computer or utilizes the information that it generates. Oh, sorry about that. Mobile and game devices. A mobile device is a smartphone. A smartphone, anything that's mobile and can be held in your hand. Smartphones are a mobile device. So, and they're internet capable. They're also PDAs these days. So they have touchscreen. They can have a keyboard. They have cameras, they have GPS mapping, they have calendars, appointment and address books, notepads, calculators, flashlights, games, and many more apps. They can send text messages, pictures, or video messages. Digital cameras, portable media players, and ebook readers are also examples of mobile devices. Digital cameras allow you to take digital photographs. Portable media players, they tend to store music. Ebook readers are used for digital books, reading digital books. All of these tend to be internet capable. Moving on to data and information, computers process data as input into information, which is output, and store the data for future use. Data is defined as a collection of unprocessed or processed. The book has it as unprocessed, but data can also be processed items, which can include text, numbers, images, audio, or video. An input device is a hardware component that allows you to enter data and instructions into a computer. Input device, into keyboard, video, voice, microphone, scanner. So an output device is the reverse of an input device. Hardware component that conveys information from the computer. So printer, display screen, speaker, headphone, flash drive. Printers. So when you have a printed copy of something, that's quite often referred to as a hard copy. Now memory. Now this section is important. This is quite often confused, and computer notifications are confusing on this, and requests from end users can be confusing on this. So memory is distinctly different from storage, and these terms are often used interchangeably, but they are distinctly different. Memory is an electronic components that store instructions waiting to be executed and the data needed by those instructions. Temporary and permanent. It can be temporary or it can be permanent. Temporary is erased when the computer's turned off, and most memory is temporary. Now, you may have guessed already that we're talking about RAM. So your RAM memory is erased when your computer is turned off. Storage, on the other hand, holds data, instructions, and information for future use. Storage media can be your hard drives, your solid-state drives, your USB flash drives, your memory cards, your optical discs. Now I'm going to stop here for a second. So memory and storage. You'll get I've seen people get a notification on Windows that says that their memory is full. Now, is that talking about their hard drive or is that talking about RAM? Now, when it says their memory is full, it's talking about their RAM, and people get confused and they think that their hard drive is full. Distinct difference there. You don't want to go out and buy a new hard drive when you need RAM. You don't want to go out and buy RAM when you need a new hard drive. So it's important that you know the difference. So back to storage media. So storage media, hard disk drives, solid state drives, USB flash drives, memory cards, optical discs. A storage device records, writes as input, and or reads as output items to and from storage media. So a storage device is both input and output here. That'd be a great test question. So storage device records, writes as input, and reads, outputs items to and from storage media. Oops. We want to go forward. We don't want to go back. All right, hard disk. So, a hard disk is a storage device that contains one or more inflexible circular platters that use magnetic particles to store data, instructions, and information. It's enclosed in an airtight, sealed case to protect it from contamination. Desktops and laptops usually contain at least one hard disk. It's called a fixed disk because a hard disk is not portable. So a solid state drive, an SSD drive. So a solid state drive is a storage device that uses flash memory to store its data, instructions, and information. So SSDs use flash memory, and it contains no moving parts. It's more durable, and it's faster than traditional hard drives. One of the important things to note here is that SSD drives, they have X number of reads and Y number of writes in their lifespan. And once you exceed that X number of reads or Y number of writes, that drive will cease to work. Unlike traditional hard drives, you will not get warnings. You won't get corrupted files. The drive won't start acting funny, making noise. You won't get any kind of warning that that drive is about to fail. So it's highly recommended that if you are using flash memory of any sort, that you make sure that you have a backup of that data. If it's important to you, that you have a backup of that data. It's common in modern desktops and laptops. It's very, very common in modern desktops and laptops. One of the types of drives that they are not talking about here is the new M.2 drives, M.2, M.3. They also use flash memory. They use a little bit different technology in that they are reading in parallel instead of serial. For those of you that are my computer geeks or build your own systems out there, so they're even faster than these solid state drives, but they are still using the same flash memory technology. So, moving on, USB flash drives are portable flash memory storage devices that you plug into the USB port. They're small and they are transportable. So the other type of flash memory drives are memory cards. They are also removable, also lightweight, generally 1.5 inches, and you insert them into the slot in your computer or mobile device. These are generally used in cameras and printers. So I should go backwards. Bear with me, sorry guys. Technology failure. I'm using multiple things simultaneously. I will get the hang of this. I will get better at this. Alright, storage devices. Okay. Platters, we got that. This would be much better, much easier to do in person. There we go. Okay. So now we're on to optical discs. Optical discs. Optical discs are storage media. They're flat, round, portable metal discs made of metal, plastic, and lacquer. And they're written and read by a laser. So these include CDs, compact discs, DVDs, digital versatile discs, and Blu-rays. I don't think your book included Blu-rays. I added Blu-rays. We're going to move on now to cloud storage. Cloud storage is an internet service that provides remote storage of data, instructions, and information. It can be specific, so you can have cloud storage that's specific just for photos or specific just for backup, or it can be more general, like our Google Drive, which you can store photos and do backups. A backup is a duplicate of content on a storage medium that you may use in case the original is lost, damaged, or destroyed. They put backup right after cloud storage, I think because it's becoming more and more popular to use cloud storage as backup. Now we move on to the internet section. Let me check my time and see where I'm at. I think we're still okay. We're at 25 minutes. We're pretty close to being done. So let's keep going. All right. The internet. The internet is a worldwide collection of computer networks that connects millions of businesses, government agencies, educational institutions, and individuals. It has connected society and has given society access to global information, and it allows instant communication. So the internet is brought together by ISPs, or internet service providers. Internet service providers offer users and organizations internet access. They can either offer that for free or for a fee, generally for a fee. There are currently over 2 billion home and business users. So some of the services on the internet are email, instant messaging, VoIP, which is voice over IP, and FTP, which is the file transfer protocol. The World Wide Web, or Web for short, is a global library of information available to anyone connected to the internet. Some of the services offered by the World Wide Web are you can search for information, conduct research, communicate with people, share information, photos, access news, weather, sports, participate in training, shop for goods and services, play games with others, download, listen to music, watch TV, movies, videos, download or read books, etc., etc., etc. We went back again. Let's keep going forward. So the web is a worldwide collection of electronic documents, where a web page is an electronic document on the web that may contain text, graphics, audio, and video. A hyperlink or link is a built-in connection to documents, graphics, audio files, videos, web pages, or websites. So hyperlinks allow you to access information in a non-linear direction. And because you can do that, we've coined the term surfing the web. So a website is a collection of related web pages stored on a web server, and a web server is a computer that delivers requested web pages to your computer. Now, a browser is software that enables users with an internet connection to access and view web pages on a computer. Common web browsers are Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, Google Chrome. Those are not the only browsers available. Search engine software is a software that finds websites, web pages, images, videos, news, maps, and other information related to a specific topic. Excuse me. So, online social network, or a social networking site. It encourages community members to share interests, ideas, stories, photos, music, other items. So they can be specialized they can be specialized like LinkedIn is for work purposes, for sharing business or professional. They can be a photo sharing site, or they can be generalized. Some would say Facebook would be more generalized. Some of the more popular ones are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. There are lots of social media sites available out there. So again, the book makes a big point of this, and this is an important point. The web is only one of the services on the internet. So other services include email, instant messaging, voice over IP, which is VoIP, FTP. So the web is only a service on the internet. So there is a distinction between the internet and the World Wide Web or the web. They are not the same thing. So digital security and safety. More and more computers, more and more people on computers, and more we store and manage our information on computers. So it's important that we protect the computers, and it's important that we're aware of the health and environmental risks associated with the computing devices. So digital security and safety, malware. Malware is short for malicious software. And that is software that acts without a user's knowledge and deliberately alters the computer's operations. Now that definition right there is specific. That is actually a legal definition. Software that acts without a user's knowledge and deliberately alters the computer's operations. Now, there are different types of malware, and they each act differently. So viruses, worms, Trojan horses, rootkits, spyware, adware, zombies. That list is not in order of importance or severity. Please be aware that that is not in order of severity. How to protect yourself from malware. Number one, use an antivirus. It's one of the most simple things that you can do. There are free antiviruses available out there. My website on engineering has a list of antivirus software available. I can put that link up on the class website. There are free and there's good quality free antivirus available. Use antivirus. It's one of the most simple things that you can do. It's kind of like locking your front door. Number two, use a firewall. Become accustomed. Windows comes with a default firewall. Become accustomed to how to use your local client, your computer, your personal computer's firewall. Be suspicious of unsolicited email attachments. Don't open an email attachment if you're not expecting it, and especially if it didn't come from somebody you don't know. So if you're not expecting it, and if it didn't come from a trusted source, if you're in doubt, just ask the person, call them up, or send them a separate email and say, "Hey, did you send me something?" Don't email the person back that sent it, but contact them through separate means, and then you can just delete them or quarantine them. I do not accept emails that are not from university addresses. At the university, you are not allowed to communicate unless you are using an official university email address. This is one of the reasons why, because anybody can create a Gmail account with my first name and last name, some combination thereof, and pretend to be me, or pretend to be the provost or the president or you. And create a Yahoo account or Hotmail account. So don't communicate with other students or other people at the university if they're not using their official university email address. Actually, I should have written that one down there. Disconnect from the internet. When you're not using the internet, disconnect from it. Unplug the cable in the back. Or turn off your Wi-Fi. If you're out and about, turn your Wi-Fi off. Download with caution. Don't download something from a site that you don't know is reputable. The number one way to get a really, really bad piece of malware is to download something. In my experience, that is the worst malware. In fact, those are the worst malware infections that I have seen, is because people have clicked to download something. You are allowing the installation to happen, and that bypasses all safety. All right, close spyware windows. This is another one. If you happen to get a pop-up window, don't close it from within the window. Um, the programmers program those buttons, so they program the buttons to say close. They're not they're not saying close, they're saying okay, install the malware. So they programmed the buttons to say whatever they want to say. Close the malware window. I'm sorry, close the pop-up window, suspected malware, from the taskbar. Keep your computer up to date. That's another one. Computers are updating because they're trying to keep up with the latest malware. And try to be aware of hoaxes and schemes that are out in the wild. Back up regularly. Privacy. Our information is stored on computers. Our medical records, our tax records, our credit reports. We store them on our computers. I mean, most of us do. I store my tax records on my computer. Most people do. Most people file their taxes digitally these days. If you don't, then good for you. Don't forget to shred your hard copy, because it's a one half dozen of another these days. And then, as it says here, shred your financial documents. Use a credit monitoring service. They're inexpensive these days. And they're pretty good. And a lot of them will have backup services in case something does happen. They'll go to bat for you. Strong passwords. This is one of the most simple ways that you can protect yourself, is to learn to create strong passwords. 10 or more characters minimum these days, at least 10 characters. Upper and lower, special. No matter what people tell you, upper and lower in special characters. Use a passphrase, something like "I like cookies on Sunday morning." Don't use that one, but "I like cookies on Sunday morning" with upper and lower and special characters. If you make it a phrase, then you're much more likely to remember it. Don't use something common. Don't use your name. Don't use, 123 ABC, the word password. If you drive a Lexus, don't use the word Lexus. If you drive a Chevy, don't use the word Chevy. Don't use your birthday. All those common sort of things. All right, health concerns. These are becoming more and more prevalent as computers become more and more in our lives, and more required in our day-to-day lives. So repetitive use injuries, eye strain, lighting. Get up, take walks. Make sure your seat make sure your seat is the proper height, your monitor is the proper height. Most employers will allow, they have an ergonomic specialist that'll come in and make sure that you're seated properly and that your workstation is set up properly if you do work with computers. Another concern these days is technology addiction. That's becoming obsessed with computers. And then technology overload. That's becoming distressed when you're deprived of computers. Both of them are very treatable. Please, if you're suffering from either one of those, or you know somebody that is, seek help. Environmental issues. Again, as we see more and more computers, manufacturing process for computers are depleting our natural resources, including our environment. The e-waste from discarded computers and from the manufacturing process releases toxic materials and potentially dangerous levels of lead, mercury, and flame retardants. Discard your computers in the proper manner. There is a proper way to discard your computers. You can find that out by calling your garbage collection company. Green computing. So green computing is reducing the electricity consumed and the environmental waste generated when using a computer. You can, we're doing more recycling, we're using energy efficient hardware, energy-saving features. We're regulating the manufacturing processes, extending the life of the computer, not creating computers that need to be replaced as quickly. Immediately donating or properly disposing of replaced computers, as I said before. Going forward, I like to go backwards apparently. Programs and apps. Let's see, where are we on time? Okay, we're at 40 minutes. I thought that environmental was finished. Okay, programs and apps. Software or program, a series of related instructions organized for a common purpose that tells the computer what tasks to perform and how to perform them. The two categories are system software and application software. System software consists of programs that control or maintain the operations of the computer and its devices. So operating systems, those are system software. So that's a set of programs that coordinates all the activities among the computer or mobile device hardware. So it's a means for users to communicate with the computer or mobile device and other software. Examples: Microsoft Windows, Apple's Mac OS, the iOS, the Google Android. Those are just some examples. So actually they don't have Linux on here. Just noticed that. Application software. Application software is also called an application or an app. They're programs designed to make users more productive and or assist them with personal tasks. There are three distinct types of application software: desktop app, application stored on a computer; a web app, an application stored on a web server accessed through a browser, as we said before, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, etc. A mobile app, an application downloaded from a mobile device's application store or other location on the internet to a smartphone or a mobile device. And we're going to move on to user interface. A user interface controls how you enter data and instructions and how information is displayed on the screen. Moving on. So a software developer, an application developer, or a computer programmer or coder, so is someone who develops programs and apps or writes the instructions that direct the computer or mobile device to process data into information. So they got to make sure the program works. I mean, that's pretty standard. And what they did state here, which was just pretty true, complex programs can require thousands to millions of instructions. And those, most programs are actually written in English. They didn't say that here. But it doesn't mean that the comments and are written in English. So while most programming languages are in English, it doesn't mean that the programmer that wrote it speaks English. So some of the common programming languages, they're used by software developers to create computer programs and apps: Python, C++, Java, JavaScript, C#, Visual Basic. There are numerous programming languages, too many to list here. Communications and networks. Computer communications, process in which two or more computers or devices transfer, send and receive data, instructions, and information over transmission media via a communications device. A communications device is, excuse me, a communications device is hardware capable of transferring items from computers and devices to transmission media and vice versa. Those include modems, wireless access points, routers. There are two types of communications devices: wired and wireless. So wired communications use some form of wire: Cat6, telephone wiring, coaxial, fiber, to send the communication signals. Typically, these are within buildings or underground between the buildings. Wireless sends signals through the air or space. Wi-Fi, which your book incorrectly defines. Wi-Fi is not short for anything. It is not an acronym for anything. It is not short for anything. It's just Wi-Fi. Um, just as an FYI on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not short for anything. Wi-Fi uses radio signals to provide a high-speed internet and network connections to computers and devices capable of communicating via Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is short range, and cellular uses the cellular network. Network is a collection of computers and devices connected together, often wirelessly, via communications devices and transmission media. Today I'd say often wirelessly. They allow computers to share resources, hardware, software, data, and information. It saves time and money when they share the resources. One or more computers may act as the server. The server controls the access to the resources on the network. Other computers on the network are called clients and request resources from the server. Now we're getting close to the end. Home networks, they're usually small. They exist within a single structure. They generally include wireless technologies. You don't need a lot of extensive knowledge to set up your home network. Generally, they're pretty easy to set up, and they have step-by-step instructions. They usually include a router. They allow you to connect to the internet at the same time. They share a single high-speed connection. You can access photos. A lot of them have a USB port now where you can actually centrally store music or videos so that all the devices can access them. Otherwise, you can still connect to other computers to share resources. You can share the printers, scanners, resources. You can play games with other computers. You can connect game consoles to the internet. You can use VoIP. Business networks, they can be small, as in one room or a building, or they can be widespread. They can be connecting across cities or countries. They can be global. They can share hardware, data, information, and software. So the uses of technology in society section of the book, technology is used in many different sectors: education, government, finance, retail, entertainment, healthcare, travel, science, publishing, manufacturing. Your book goes into descriptions in each one of these. Go ahead and read that section. That section's pretty interesting, but I'm not going to go into detail on that here. I am going to describe technology users, often called end users. So they break it up into the different categories of users. Be aware that this is arbitrary. So in different environments, these could be called end users could be called different things, but they break them up into these categories: a home user, a small home office user, fewer than 50 employees, a mobile user, a power user, that would be a scientist or an engineer, architect, somebody who needs a more powerful computer, an enterprise user, and they define that as any employees and customers. So any business type of contractual agreement. I'm going backwards again. So in summary, for this chapter is just some basic computing concepts, basically how they operate, the different components necessary for how they operate, how they interconnect locally and globally, how they need to be secured, and some of the environmental concerns. So I added an understanding of the history of computers. I think that that's important. The videos that I added are fun. They're probably a lot more fun to watch than listening to me. So I hope you enjoy those. Let me know what you think. I'd be curious to know what you think of those. The assignment will be a text assignment. It shouldn't be too difficult. I'll give you instructions on that. If you have any difficulties with that, let me know. Review the study guide at the end of the chapter and the terms at the end of the chapter. So, as I just said, watch the linked video, read the history of computing. It's just a PDF. That's more for your reference. Read the chapter. Watch this video, which you just did, and then complete the plain text assignment. That'll be due by Friday, 11:59. And have fun. I hope you enjoy the videos. As I said, I think they'll be a lot more fun to watch than listening to me. Alrighty, I hope you have a great week, and I hope you had a great week last week. Stay safe, everybody, and welcome to class.